Okay, hello everyone. Namo Myohorengekyo. Thanks for being here. And just for a change, I'll say at the beginning, all of these videos are audio transcribed, so you can listen to them wherever you get your podcasts. The podcasts are called, all three words, The Buddhahood Podcast. The Buddhahood Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. All right, we're doing, I think it was this one. Okay, so today's Go Show, not sure how long this one is. Yeah, I might get it done in one video. The problem to be pondered night and day. Trying to remember. That's right. He wrote this letter to Toki Jonin, a very important, or how shall we say, important in that this was a samurai who converted to Nichiren's teachings early on, and was a very strong believer. I don't want to say believer. I want to say supporter of Nichiren's teachings of the Lotus Sutra, Nichiren's doctrines on how to practice Buddhism, and the Lotus Sutra, the placement of the Lotus Sutra amongst all the teachings. Basically everything Nichiren was trying to straighten out during his lifetime in shogunate, samurai Japan. Toki Jonin was a tremendous supporter, protector, and even granted, I'm not sure what the right word is there, but he gave Nichiren some lands to build an abode, to build a place for his headquarters, so to speak, of his practice, so on. So anyway, let's see what they say in the background here. This letter was written to Toki Jonin, a learned and dedicated disciple who lived in Shimosa province. In it, Nichiren Shonin stresses the extreme seriousness of the offense of slander and also the importance of embracing the supreme Buddhist teaching. The letter is dated simply 23rd day of the 8th month, generally thought to be written at the first year of Kenji, 1275, at Minobu. By the time Nichiren settled into Minobu, it was after many persecutions and exiles to Sado and so forth. So, nose is acting up. I apologize. So let's get into it. He begins. The second volume of the Lotus Sutra of the Wonderful Law states, quote, if a person fails to have a resolute mind and conviction, but instead slanders the sutra, or on seeing those who read, recite, copy, and uphold this sutra should despise, hate, envy, or bear grudges against them, when his life comes to an end, he will enter the Avicii hell. He will keep repeating this cycle for a countless number of kalpas. End quote. The 7th volume reads, quote, for 1,000 kalpas they underwent great suffering in the Avicii hell. End quote. The 3rd volume mentions those who wandered in the evil paths and unlife-affirming or negative or lower worlds for major world system dust particles, kalpas, and the 6th volume refers to those who were submerged in the realm of suffering for numberless major world system dust particle kalpas. The Nirvana Sutra states, quote, even if you are killed by a mad elephant, you will not fall into the 3 evil paths, but if you are killed by an evil friend, you are certain to fall into them. The treatise on the treasure vehicle of Buddhahood by Bodhisattvas Saramati reads, quote, those who are ignorant and unable to believe in the correct teaching, who hold false views and are arrogant, suffer such hindrances in retribution for the slanders of their past lives. They cling to incomplete doctrines and are attached to receiving alms and being treated with deference. They recognize only false doctrines, distance themselves from good friends, approach with familiarity such slanderers who delight in attachment to the teachings of the lesser vehicle, and do not believe in the great vehicle. Therefore, they slander the law of the Buddhas. So Nichiren's really pulling a lot of references here to talk about, firstly, what is the true practice of Buddhism? What is the point of all of Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings and the scholarship for thousands of years about understanding Shakyamuni Buddha's teachings? What's the point? And having arrived at the point, why would you then practice earlier stages as if those were the point? Why would you then practice really inferior? Why are they inferior? Because they are not the point. Earlier practices were there to train you so that you would get to the point. Why would you join a football team or a baseball team? Go to the workouts, go to the team, learn all the plays, learn the terminologies, go to the batting cage, or go run all kinds of plays on the field, get fitted out with the uniform, and do all of those things in preparations for playing a game, and then never play. Worse, why would you say that batting practice is all there is to know about baseball? If you want to know or be a great baseball player, then just go to batting cages. That's all you need to do. It sounds ridiculous when I say it in that way, doesn't it? In fact, if you want to achieve great stardom in football and feel and experience the greatest experience and expression of your training and sportsmanship and skills in football, simply stay home and get a good fitting uniform and watch television. This is how Nichiren is talking here about Buddhism. Why would you do that? And further, he's saying, and the teachings of Buddhism say it, and he's quoting it everywhere, that if you don't go to the game, if you don't go to what the point is, then you're actually a hindrance. Because as we've already discussed, you are your environment. Your environment is you. So what you do so is reflected and influenced in your environment, other people. So if you think that sitting on your butt at home watching television in a baseball uniform is the pinnacle of baseball, you will influence those around you to think the same thing. Therefore, you are spreading maliciously an opposing thought to the point. You're not just not doing it. You're showing that the point is invalid, unnecessary. You are an enemy of the Buddha. Do you see how that works? That's the argument being made here. It's not a very sophisticated argument. It's a very plain as day argument, right? Let's continue. A person of wisdom should not fear enemy households, snakes, the poison of fire, the deity Indra, the roll of thunder, attacks by swords and staves, or wild beasts such as tigers, wolves, and lions, for these can only destroy one's life, but cannot cause one to fall into the Avicii hell, which is truly terrifying. In other words, we talk a lot about these hells in Buddhism, but these are experienced in the mind. Remember, Buddhism's about the mind. So if you end up in the hells, the sufferings of life, It's not something that happens after you die. It's something you experience now. That lack of fulfillment, that desperation, that all that negativity that just suffocates you. What one should fear is slander of the profound teaching, as well as companions who are slanderers, for these will surely cause one to fall into the frightful Avicii hell. So again, if you have a friend who believes that dressing up in a baseball uniform or just the shorts, or just wear a jersey with a number on it, that's all. Now you're a famous baseball player. You can claim it to everyone you know, and, that's all you need to do. And you actually are fascinated with the baseball game, and you'd like to not only go to a game and watch it, but maybe someday, maybe you could develop your skills enough to participate in a game, to actually play baseball. But your friend keeps saying, who needs to do that? Just wear the jersey, man. Kick back. Here, have a beer. Well, I'd really like to go check. Nah, come on. Just stay here. Let's watch, Looney Tunes or something. But I'd really like to. Come on. Don't be such a downer. Here, I got a jersey. You wear it. Well, okay. Well, what your evil friend here, your friend with the lack of resolve, lack of inspiration, he is performing in your life a very detrimental influence. Because not only is he keeping you from baseball, he's keeping you from expressing your life to its fullest. And in the case of Buddhism, both are the same. He stresses this point often, but obviously in this letter he's making a great big point of it, right? Even if one befriends evil companions and with evil intent spills the Buddha's blood, kills one's own father and mother, takes the lives of many sages, disrupts the unity of the Buddhist order, and destroys all one's roots of goodness, if one fixes one's mind on the correct teaching, one can free oneself from that place. That's amazing. So not only does this guy give you a beer, but now he says, hey, let's go screw it up. Let's go to their practice and just steal their stuff and injure them and ridicule them. Even if he talks you into that. And then you stand back and you're totally just eviscerated inside. Can't believe that you did it. And you then recommit. Nothing to do with this guy anymore. And you go back and you make reparations and you work with them and you work out with them. And one day you play the game. You can do it. If you go to the point. The point is your enlightenment right now. Your Buddhahood is waiting for you to awaken to it. And this is the method. Myohorengekyo. What are you waiting for? Don't let people deter you from that. They're going to benefit from it even if they don't know it. Because if they're still in your environs are you. And if they have too much negativity to participate, they will just fall away. You won't have to get rid of them. They'll just fall away. That's the nature of the influence, the aura of enlightenment that you gain when you practice. Nichiren continues, but if there is someone who slanders the inconceivably profound teaching, that person will, for immeasurable kalpas, be unable to obtain emancipation, liberation from suffering. However, if there is one cause, if there is one who can cause others to awaken, to take resolute mind, a resolve in the teachings such as this, then that person is their father and mother, and also their good friend. This is a person of wisdom. After the thus come one's passing, that person corrects false views and perverse thoughts, and causes people to enter the true way. For that reason, he has a pure, resolute mind in the three treasures, and his virtuous actions lead others to enlightenment. Influence. That's just by you practicing. It just happens that you push out Buddhahood, the Bodhisattva way. Now step a little further and make friendly suggestions to your friends. Have you ever heard Myohorengekyo? Can you say it? Do you want to try it? Do you want to know what it's about? Oh, you know me, I'm not a great teacher, but I mean, I'll show you what I do, what I know, what I read. Wow, that's huge. Because not only are your environs you, but when you interact with your environs, you just, the power of your Buddhahood, the sensation of that experience becomes expansive. It now penetrates your human existence, your samsaric existence. It can't be held back anymore because you're reaching through that barrier of you and other. It's no longer other because you're now communicating with it as though it was you. This is the power of Bodhisattva practice. Going on, he says, Bodhisattva's Nagarjuna states in his treatise on the discipline for attaining enlightenment, quote, the world-honored one expounded 5 causes leading to the hell of incessant suffering. But if, with respect to the profound teaching that one has yet to comprehend, one were to remain attached to lesser teachings and declare that this is not the Buddha's teaching, then the accumulated sins of all the above-mentioned 5 acts would not amount to even 100th part of this offense. I mean, you're a human being. You may do some really stupid things. That's what we do in samsara, right? And even if you did, as he lists here, Nagarjuna lists 5 different causes, 5 different things that you might do with your thoughts, words, or deeds, actual deeds, that could lead you to incessant suffering, right? Which is life, which is samsara. It's incessant suffering. With these little peak moments of joy and surprise and so on and so forth. But generally, life is suffering. This is the first noble truth. But if you take action against those who would advise you or just themselves practice Myohorengekyo, practice to try to awaken their Buddha nature, and you ridicule them or you impede them or whatever, that offense is far greater than all the others. A wise person, while dwelling in security, anticipates danger. A perverse one, while dwelling amid danger, takes security for granted. A great fire fears even a small quantity of water, and a large tree may have its branches broken by even a small bird. What a wise person fears is slander of the great vehicle. It was on this account that Bodhisattva Vasubandhu declared that he would cut out his tongue. Bodhisattva Ashvaghosha implored that his own head be cut off, and the great teacher Chi Shang made a bridge of his own body. The Tripitaka master Xuanzang traveled to the sacred land of India to discern which teaching represents the truth. The Tripitaka master Pulkung likewise returned to India to resolve his doubts. And the great teacher Dengyo sought confirmation in China. Did not these men act this way in order to protect the true meaning of the sutras and treatises? Right? It wasn't just their desire to know intimately the point of Shakyamuni's teachings, but it was also their great apprehension that they might not do it right, that they might miss the point. The entire history of Buddhist scholarship is about this seesaw. What's the point? How can I understand and study enough that I don't miss the point? Because if I miss the point and practice something that takes me this way or that, I'm not just hurting myself, I'm hurting everyone I influence. And more to the point, I'm going to rename this video The Point. But more to the point, you're insulting the very teacher whose teachings you're trying to manifest, the Buddha. If you have a mentor in life, a great teacher, a parent, a sibling, a friend, who you honor for their point of view about something, and then you go off on a tangent doing what you think is right, but in the face of what that mentor has been teaching you, aren't you really spitting in the face of that mentor? Yeah, you're all great and everything, but I got this idea. Right? So it's not just that you will fail, but you're also disparaging what sets you on a path, any path to begin with. All right. In Japan today, Nichiren continues, among the 4 kinds of believers of the 8 schools, as well as those of the Pure Land and Zen schools, from the emperor and the retired emperor on down to their vassals and the common people, there is not a single person who is not a latter-day disciple or lay supporter of one of the 3 great teachers, Kobo, Chikaku, and Chisho, and in also known as the great teacher Chikaku, stated, quote, even though the flower garland and other sutras are termed esoteric, they do not fully expound the secret teaching of the thus come one. Therefore, they differ from the true word teaching, end quote. Enshin, also known as the great teacher Chisho, said, quote, when compared with the Mahavarachana Sutra, the flower garland and lotus are a mere childish theory, end quote. Kukai, the great teacher Kobo, remarked, quote, each vehicle that is put forward is claimed to be the vehicle of Buddhahood. But when we examine from a later stage, they are all seen to be childish rhetoric, or theory, end quote. So it's not only that these great teachers went off and created their own little world that they could be the authority of. You see that authoritarian problem. But they do so by ridiculing the actual teachings. I mean, it boggles the mind, really. But this is the way humans are today. It hasn't changed. It's a cautionary tale, isn't it? To watch our own minds at work. He continues, thus all three of these great teachers held that though the Lotus Sutra is foremost among all the sutras that Shakyamuni Buddha has preached, now preaches, and will preach, when compared with the Mahavajrana Sutra, it is a doctrine of childish theory. How can you even say it? I'm reading this and it's bothering me. The affront. It's such. I mean, only a politician could flip flop like this and look you square in the face. It's unbelievable. Okay. Should any thinking person give credence to this assertion? Nichiren asks. 100,000, 10,000, million times more than mad elephants, vicious horses, fierce bulls, savage dogs, poisonous snakes, poisonous thorns, treacherous bluffs, steep cliff, floods, evil men, evil countries, evil towns, evil dwellings, evil wives, wicked children, and malicious retainers. The people of Japan today should fear those high-ranking monks who keep the precepts and yet hold these distorted views. Nichiren's pissed. He's tired of this. He's been doing this since he was 30 years old. And now here he is retiring in Minobu, and it's like the Mongols have attacked. We've had earthquakes and horrible famines, all sorts of things. Japan's been going through civil war. Can't you guys see? You need to get your act together. Stop doing this. Now he resorts to his question and answer teaching style. And he says, question. Are you suggesting that the three great teachers mentioned above were slanderers of the law? Encho, the great teacher Jako, the second chief monk of Mount Hiei, the great teacher Kojo, superintendent of the temple Anne, the great teacher Daigo Gyo, the reverend Eryo, the reverend Anen, the supervisor of monks Jokan, the administrator of priest Dana, the sage of former times Eshin, and several hundred others of the Tendai school, as well as several hundred of Kobo's disciples, including Jitsui, Shinzei, and Shinga, and also the other great teachers and sages of former times of the 8 schools, the 10 schools, and all these men were like so many suns, moons, and stars appearing in succession during the passage of 400 years and more. Not a single person among them has ever questioned this assertion of the three great teachers. In the light of what sort of wisdom do you criticize this, Nichiren? And Nichiren's, in the light of the above points, this shows my followers cut short your sleep by night and curtail your leisure by day, and ponder this. You must not spend your lives in vain and regret it for 10,000 years to come. With my deep respect, Nichiren. Oh, and then as a footnote, I have received 1 string of coins. I hope all those who are serious in their resolve will gather in one place and listen to this letter. So, he sends this to Toki Jonin, knowing full well that with Toki Jonin's influence, all the people under his auspices, and friends and relatives, and the farmers, and all the people that work under him, and other followers in the region, Toki can be given this responsibility, although he's not identified as a monk, because he's a samurai. He has a position, he has something he has to do all day, and he answers to his lord, right? But as a lay believer, especially of the nature of Toki Jonin's influence and support, long-standing support and study with Nichiren. Nichiren unloads a lot of teachings here, a lot of quotes, a lot of facts. And then at the end, he poses this question almost as a kind of a reminder or a cliff notes to Toki. If you gather all these people to share this with them, this is the question that'll be on their mind. Where does Nichiren get off with saying all of these things? How can he question hundreds of years of tradition? Well, with those quotes he just gave you, you can answer. And by doing so, strengthen their resolve as well as your own. Doing the work of Myohorengekyo. Doing the Buddha, the point. Getting to the point. Myohorengekyo. Awaken your Buddhahood. It's yours. Shake it awake. Stop thinking about all these other doubts. They're just getting in your way. Instead of spending your time on that, spend your time on Namo Myohorengekyo. How hard could it be? And you'll get results. You'll see it working in your life right away. You can't deny it's working. So, interesting. It's like a study preparation for Toki Jonin to entertain a group of followers and interested people. A lot of them in the area will be from these other sects who are curious as to what is Nichiren saying. So Nichiren is arming Toki Jonin with all of these quotes and these ideas so that he can be his emissary without him being there, extending his reach. Pretty amazing Gosho. And it's pretty amazing that you sat through all of that with me, which I always congratulate you for and thank you deeply with great gratitude. Thanks for being here. Stick around. If these videos, sometimes they take too much time to sit and watch, you certainly can just listen to the audio. And that you can do while you're working out or driving. We're all in our cars so much these days. So you can get the podcast and download it. Listen to it whenever you can. Namo Myohorengekyo. Thank you so much. Support if you can, of course. Anyway, take care of your health these days and stay strong in your practice. See you in the next one.